To my channel. If you're new here, go ahead, hit the subscribe button so you don't ever miss an upload from me. And if you're an oldie but a goodie, thank you so much for coming back for another video. So today we're going to be talking about the new Morphe 35O2. Yes, number 2. We're going to be talking about the 35O2 palette that just recently launched. So as you guys probably know, I was a really big fan of the original 35O. I feel like it's just the perfect palette for fall because it has those really deep warm shades, just screams fall time. So whenever I heard that they were coming out with a new one, I was a little bit skeptical because I wasn't exactly sure what they were going to do. I didn't know if it was going to be the exact same shades. Well, this is what the new palette looks like. So as you guys can tell, the colors are a little bit more bright and vibrant. So I was really excited to try it whenever I noticed that the colors just seemed to have a little bit more pigment to them. So yeah, I was super duper excited. So I came up with this look that I think is really appropriate for the fall season. So I'm going to be letting you guys know all the tea about this palette and how I feel about it, my thoughts and all of that. So the palette does retail for $23, which I don't think is a bad price because you get 35 different colors and the colors are very, very bright, vibrant, pigmented, a lot more pigmented than the original 35O palette. So you can tell that just by looking at the palette. So originally when I heard about them coming out with a new 35O, I thought maybe they were just gonna repackage it and maybe use the same colors just to kind of make a little bit more money off of it because it was such a popular palette. But that's not the case at all. You can definitely tell that these are different eyeshadows that have a different formula. Way more bright, way more pigmented, and I love the pigmentation. But I will say, for me personally, I noticed whenever I was using this palette that it was a little bit hard for me to blend some of the shadows out. For example, this shade right here, Fire, which all the eyeshadows do have shade names this time, and they include this little clear paper on top of it so you can know all the shades. But this color Fire, it took me a little bit to kind of blend that color out because it's very vibrant. Now when I originally looked at it in the palette, I didn't expect it to be as vibrant on the eye, but it says equally vibrant on the eye as it is in the pan. So it was a little bit hard kind of blending that. I did notice that I had a little bit of fallout with this shade and I had to reapply it a few times because I did blend so much, but you guys will see all of that within the tutorial. Now I will say, if you were a fan of the original 35O palette, that you will probably like this because it's just a more amplified version. As you guys can tell, the eyeshadows are really pigmented. Now the colors are not exactly the same, similar but definitely not the same. And I will say, if you have a little bit of a problem with blending, go into this palette with a light hand because I just found it was a little bit harder to kind of blend the eyeshadows because they are so very pigmented. But I am going to stop rambling and we're gonna go ahead and jump into the tutorial. We're gonna go ahead and get started. I'm not really sure what type of look I want to do, so I'm gonna pretty much wing it. I'm gonna start off by priming my eyes. I'm using this Urban Decay Naked Skin Color Correcting Fluid. Not a primer, obviously, but I don't know. I tried it one day and I just really like the way that my eyeshadows lay down so smooth whenever I use it. So I think I either want to do something kind of fiery red or maybe like a chocolate brown color. These two shades right here, they really stick out to me. And then also this shimmer shade right here. It's really pretty. So yeah, I'm not sure, but we're going to start off with the transitional shade and I'm going to be using the color Universal. So they do have this little sheet in the palette that has all of the names on it. So I thought that that was pretty nice, but if I wasn't doing a tutorial, I really wouldn't care about the names. So yeah, I guess that doesn't really matter to me, if, you know, if I was just a user and not an actual, you know, making a video for YouTube. But we're gonna start off with the Universal shade, and I'm using the Morphe M514. I do think there's a color similar to this in the original 35O palette, and from originally just applying it to my eye, I can't say that I noticed a big difference with this shade, but this is just a matte, so just with that, I don't think there's a really big difference. So originally with that shadow, I did notice that I had to put about 2 layers of the eyeshadow to actually get the color build up that I wanted. But of course it is just a transitional shade, so I wasn't really worried about it being too pigmented, but I did have to do about 2 layers of this color, but it blended really easily, so that's always a plus. So moving right along, I really want to layer these eyeshadows, so I'm going to use another neutral shade, and this is the color Flux, and I'm going to use the exact same brush. I do notice when I tap my brush into the eyeshadow, I get a little bit of fallout. So as you guys can tell, Flux is a little bit darker than the first shade I applied, but I really enjoy layering the eyeshadows because I just feel like it helps the eyeshadows blend together a little bit better, and it just gives you a really nice transition. So the Flux shade did help deepen up the crease area. Now I'm going to go over it with the Morphe E27 just to blend it out a little bit, and I really love this brush. If you're looking for a nice crease brush that's really going to blend everything out, I would highly recommend this brush because it's really soft. So for the lid color, I'm thinking I'm going to use this shade called Polished, which is this color right here. It's really speaking to me like, girl, you need to use me, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and do a swatch so you guys can see what it looks like. So that's how it looks on my fingertip and then on my actual hand. So it's kind of a brown shimmer shade, really pretty. So I am getting a little bit of fallout. Not too much, but it's definitely there. The color is very pigmented. The eyeshadow is really creamy. It glides on really easily. I'm just taking my time and packing it on. I'm really wanting to try this shade right here. It's called Fire, and it looks so vibrant in the actual palette. So let's go ahead and apply this and see how vibrant it actually looks once you use a brush to apply it. Really vibrant, really vibrant. Now what I'll say I do like about this color is it's a red shade, but for some reason it just seems so much more wearable than normal red eyeshadow. I really like that color. So yeah, we're just gonna apply this to the crease and then go back and blend everything out. This color, y'all, it's intense. It's very pigmented. I was not expecting this much pigment from this shade, but y'all, the pigment is there. It's pretty much as pigmented as what you see in the actual palette. So yeah. So now I'm just using my large fluffy brush to just blend this color out. And y'all, God, it's super pigmented. Super pigmented. So I can notice that the color is kind of bleeding over a little bit, if that makes any sense. So I would say with these eyeshadows, personally, maybe just apply them first before applying your actual foundation. I don't know if it's just me being a little bit more messy than normal, but yeah. definitely gonna have to go back and reapply that lid color because I definitely lost it in the mix when blending out the fire eyeshadow. So yeah, I'm just gonna go back and apply that. Now I'm going to take the shade Chestnut and I'm going to add it to my outer V area. So I cleaned up the sides just because I do feel like it got a little bit messy. Now I'm just going over everything with this small blending brush just because I feel like because the eyeshadows are so pigmented that I had to work a little bit harder with blending. And I'm not even sure if that even makes any sense or what, but I do feel like I had to blend a little bit more than normal. So I added my lashes. Now I'm gonna apply a primer just to add a little bit of moisture back to my skin. It's been feeling a little bit dry here lately. So I'm gonna apply this all over my face. And to help the pores on my nose look a little bit smaller, I'm gonna be using this smoothing primer by Makeup Forever. I mainly like to focus this on my nose area. So for my foundation, I'm going to be wearing the Estee Lauder Double Wear Stay in Place foundation, and this is definitely an oldie but a goodie. I used to use this all the time back in the day, but for some reason I forgot about it, but it's back. It's back in action, y'all. And I'm in the shade 5W1 Bronze. And I like to use my Morphe Y7 brush to apply it. So in combination with the Estee Lauder foundation, I absolutely love using the Urban Decay Naked Skin Concealer. It's really lightweight and super easy to blend. And my go-to brush for blending concealer here lately has been this one by Sigma. It's the 4D HD Kabuki. Absolutely love it because it really gets into the crevices and it just blends flawlessly. I like to do a pouncing technique because it just really helps the concealer just sink into the skin. And then I'll kind of go over it. I kind of do a combination of pouncing and swiping. I'm gonna set that concealer with the Too Faced Born This Way setting powder. To add a little bit of bronziness, I'm going to be using the Too Faced Chocolate Soleil Bronzer. My go-to contour product here lately has been these by MAKEUPGEEK. I absolutely love them because they have so many different shades. So I'm using this one in Complicated and it's cool medium toned. And I'm gonna be using my NARS Eat a Brush, which is still one of my favorite brushes for contouring. I'm using this Ardency N pencil on my waterline. Love, love, love it. It's so creamy. You guys see how it just glides on. For my cheeks, I'm going to be applying NARS Torrid, which is a kind of peachy brown shade. I'm just applying this light-handedly because NARS blushes can be super duper pigmented. For my highlight, I'm going to be using the Hourglass Ambient palette. I think this one's a new one. I got it in PR. There's the 3 different shades. I'm just going to mix all 3 of them together just to get, you know, a personalized highlight. For the lips, I wanted to do something that was really going to match the eyes, so I'm going to be using ColourPop's BFF3 lip liner, and the actual lip color I'm going to be using is K, and this is a liquid matte lipstick. Alright guys, so that's the finished look. I hope you enjoyed it. If you're interested in the Morphe 35O palette, I will have it linked below, and then I also have a discount code that will get you 10% off, so be sure to check that out. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will talk to you all in the next video. Bye!